Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the massive responsibility of reviewing a batch certification evidence package. We're strictly looking at the evidence itself here. This isn't just some mindless box-ticking exercise. Think of it more like a high-stakes investigation. As the qualified person, or QP, your signature is what confirms compliance and safety. You're basically a quality detective, and these batch records, well, they're your case file. And let's jump right into this incredible concept. Absence is not assurance. Honestly, this is the foundational mindset for everything we're talking about today. A gap in your evidence can actually hide the exact problem you're trying to find. If a deviation report is missing, it doesn't mean the deviation was minor. It means you're totally blind to the facts. Completeness and integrity, they are absolutely everything. You've got to verify, not just assume. To navigate this complex case file, we'll be covering 5 key areas. First, the core evidence package. Second, handling deviations and changes. Third, status, stability, and suppliers. Fourth, data integrity and Alcoa Plus. And finally, assembly, conflicts, and pausing. Okay, Section 1, the core evidence package, establishing the baseline. So, as an investigator, you have to relentlessly compare the approved master batch record against the contemporaneous executed batch record. The master record is your approved recipe, reflecting the marketing authorization. The executed record, that's what actually happened, step by step out on the floor. Any unexplained difference between the two is an immediate red flag. You literally cannot just ignore it just because the final product happened to pass its release tests. These core elements, they need to cross-check each other perfectly. Your material inputs and outputs absolutely have to balance. Unexplained losses or gains, that demands an immediate investigation to rule out mix-ups. Meanwhile, your in-process controls, your IPCs, they prove the process stayed within its validated limits in real time. Also, finished product specifications from the marketing authorization, those are binding. They are absolute rules, not just helpful suggestions. And finally, those certificates of analysis are super useful summaries for sure, but remember, they do not replace the underlying raw data. Moving right along to Section 2, handling deviations and changes, investigating the anomalies. Now, when you're reviewing an out-of-specification, or OOS, report, you're checking to ensure a very specific escalation path was followed. You want to make sure no result was just tossed out without a valid documented lab error. If there's no assignable cause, the record must clearly show that the investigation widened out to the manufacturing process itself. You have to assess the process, the materials, and related batches to figure out the actual impact. Let's test your investigative mindset for a second. Imagine you're reviewing records and you see an assay fails. A retest is run, and hey, it passes. But the record shows no laboratory cause for that first failing result. What's the data hiding here? If no lab error was found, how are you supposed to proceed? Well, as the reviewer, you have to enforce the rule that a passing retest cannot just magically override a confirmed OOS. Without a valid assignable cause in the file, that original failure absolutely stands. The record must show an escalated investigation into manufacturing. If you're seeing averaged results or outliers just being discarded, that's what we call testing into compliance. And that is a major, major red flag. Your signature ultimately relies on understanding a few other anomalies, too. Taken out of trend, or OET results, that's a vital early warning of drift. Even if the batch passes, a steady drift toward the limit needs intense scrutiny. Unplanned deviations? Those are unexpected departures that always require an assessment for batch impact. Interestingly, if you have a systemic corrective and preventative action, a CAPA, open that doesn't actually affect this specific batch's compliance, you can track it separately and still certify. But beware of change control. Any change made ahead of regulatory approval, like a variation that hasn't been approved yet, makes the entire batch completely non-compliant with its marketing authorization. All right, Section 3, status, stability, and suppliers, checking the ecosystem. Within this ecosystem, each tier supports the one above it. Process validation proves you can make the product consistently. Equipment qualification ensures your tools perform exactly as intended. And cleaning validation, that controls carryover on shared equipment to prevent cross-contamination. But here's the catch. Validated once does not mean validated forever. If an instrument used for release testing has lapsed calibration, you can't just assume it read correctly. Lapsed calibration immediately invalidates your test results and triggers a full investigation. You also have to verify the broader context.
Ongoing stability data justifies your shelf life, and an adverse signal there can actually impact batches you've already released. You need to look at product quality review trends to see the batch in the context of its entire history. Plus, your materials have to come from qualified, approved suppliers, and your contract agreements must clearly map out responsibilities. Gaps where no party clearly owns an activity, like, say, who reviews an outsourced lab's OOS investigations, those represent a massive certification risk. And don't forget Annex 19. You absolutely must keep reference and retention samples for future reexamination.
Next up, Section 4, Data Integrity and Alcoa Plus, the truth of the data. These Alcoa Plus principles really define the standard for all evidence in your package. Basically, data must be attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate. Plus, it needs to be complete, consistent, enduring, and available. Data integrity is the absolute bedrock underpinning your entire certification. Simply put, if you can't trust the data, you can't trust the batch. As our quality detective, you need to be constantly on the lookout for data integrity red flags. Watch out for results that look suspiciously round or just too good. Keep an eye out for testing that gets magically repeated until a pass is achieved, with absolutely no logged justification. Beware of disabled audit trails, or cases where the original raw data is conveniently missing right behind a super clean summary certificate. You've got to ask yourself, sure, the test's passed, but what is the system hiding? Here's another essential knowledge check to really test your Alcoa Plus thinking. Say you see a certificate with a perfectly clean pass, but you dig into the digital footprints and find the audit trail shows 3 earlier results were deleted with absolutely no recorded reason. What do? You have to treat this as a serious data integrity concern right away. Unexplained deletions are a huge red flag for testing into compliance. You literally cannot just accept the reported pass. You must pause everything and investigate those deletions thoroughly before you even think about putting your signature on that batch. Oh, and disabling the audit trail just to avoid seeing this? That would be a massive compliance breach all on its own. And finally, Section 5, Assembly, Conflicts, and Pausing, the final verdict. When you're cross-checking records, eventually you're going to spot a conflict. It happens. If one record says everything is perfectly fine, but another indicates a borderline result or notes an event, you can never just pick the convenient passing version. You have to cross-check elements that should agree, reconcile the logs, and dig deep to find the actual truth. An unexplained conflict straight up blocks certification. To reach your final verdict, you follow this framework. First, assemble the complete traceable package. Second, cross-check everything for conflicts. Third, resolve every single gap and conflict you find. Fourth, weigh any residual risk based on trends and history. It's only when the batch impact is fully, completely understood that you can safely make and document your final certification decision. If there's a missing investigation report, you pause. You don't just assume it was minor and certify it anyway. Organizing the dossier with a batched evidence index is great because it exposes gaps instantly. It simply asks, is the required document there? Yes or no. Incomplete evidence is not just some minor administrative omission. It is a critical gap that must halt your certification entirely. Why? Because you simply cannot evaluate what you cannot see. I'll leave you to reflect on this heavy responsibility. As a quality detective reviewing a batch certification evidence package, your ultimate task isn't just verifying the clear, pristine evidence placed neatly in front of you. It's having the absolute vigilance to hunt down exactly what is missing. So I have to ask you, if a gap hides the problem, are you looking closely enough at what isn't there? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.